Good morning. If you want to see how we restored this caneback Kennedy rocking chair, stay tuned because that's what we're going to do today. Welcome to another Memphis Monday 181. Today we're going to be restoring a caneback rocking chair in our never-ending quest to do something new. So let's knock off the chit-chat, get over there and see what the problem is. Here's a long-range view of the chair we're going to fix. The finish has all deteriorated. It was left out in the weather and it had been coated with polyurethane, so it's totally gone. The ends of the rockers are chewed by a dog. I think I can just sand those off. And the cane seat is totally shot. It's all unraveling. The cane seat, it's in a herringbone pattern. It's in a little bit better shape, but there's some strands missing. Here you can really see the damage on this cane back here. And the front of the rockers are also chewed up. The seat is woven onto a frame. I'll take that off now. Here's the herringbone pattern we're going to duplicate. Looks like they started up here in this upper left-hand corner, and this first strand weaved under 2, then over 3, under 3, over 3, under 3, and so forth. This is the top of the seat here. It's in this herringbone pattern, and the underside has a herringbone pattern also. This isn't necessary. I don't think we're going to do a herringbone on the bottom. Okay, I studied it a little bit, and I'm going to try to take this off just like I did the other one without destroying it. I guess I need to stop worrying so much about the cane and start worrying about the structure. They messed this up pretty bad when they put it together. These are called corrugated joint fasteners, and they screwed up putting them together. That's just flopping in the breeze. I've never had much luck with these. No luck at all. Try to repair this frame using pocket screws. It's got to be real careful not to drive them in too hard. Now I'm not stressing over these joints. I just had to repair these joints because the wood was completely disconnected. That weaving frame doesn't experience any torque because it's connected to the chair stiles. Here's the side. You can see the big screws we took out. That frame is really supported by the chair frame. Some of you may not be old enough to remember, but what we have here is what's called a Kennedy rocker. Here's what we're up against on these rockers. The ends of all the rockers have been chewed down to just a little nub. You can see how rough they are. My plan is just to sand sand them smooth. I got the ends sanded down. What I did is to kind of trick the eye, I kind of folded this up into these little angles here, and it'll make it look like, you know, it was planned this way. Here what I'm doing is I'm rough sanding everything I can get to with my random orbit, and then I'm going to have to hand sand the rest of it. Here I got you zoomed in so you can kind of see what we're doing. Here's a little You may be wondering, why did I take the finish, sand this piece down, and on my other restorations I always try to avoid that. This thing's made out of red oak, and it got wet and the grain expanded, and of course all the finish was shot, but the wood had to be re-sanded and re-smoothed because the grain had swelled up and it was quite unsightly. I'm staining it in this color called Carrington. I'm not letting it stay on very long before I wipe it off because I don't want it to be too dark. There's our chair. I put a coat of poly on it. Got plenty of time for it to dry because we're going to start working on the back and the bottom. This is a binding cane. It's about 1/4 inch, 6 millimeters. What I'm doing now is I've got to wrap this thing with this binding cane, all these unwoven ones, and before we start our herringbone pattern. What I'm doing now is whenever you use up a strand of the binding cane, you got to connect the two ends together, and I'm using staples. We put these straight ones in here, and then you start your weaving pattern. You go over one, then the next strand you go over two, and the next strand you go over three. And now you've done those three. Now with this one here, you go under one, then you go under two, and then you go under three. Okay, here on our project, I went under one, and then with this next strand I went under two, and so for the next strand I'll go under three. Okay, now I'm going under here, so I went under one, I went under two, and now I got to go under three. It's like taking the test and having the answer sheet. I got the old seat, so I get that pattern right off the old seat, and if I have any questions, I've got the old seat sitting right there. Okay, so this one goes over, The next one will go under. Okay, so now I take and pull this piece of cane through. Now you want it butted up against the piece of cane before. One of the reasons you need to make sure that it's wet. Okay, now here I'm one under 3, so I've done my 3, so now I need to start over with 1, but instead of going under, I go over. So this one is an over 1. Okay, now that strand is through there, I want to go through there and make sure that I'm under and over just 3 in each instance. Okay, now I got the herringbones, the front strand through there. Now I flip it over and feed the piece through the basket weave part. Okay, I went over 2. Now I got to go over 3. Now I got the seat finished. Now we need to do the back. On the seat, we put this herringbone pattern on the front, and on the back, we put this basket weave pattern. But on our back, we can't put the fancy weaving on the front and basket weave on the back because both sides are visible. But our seat turned out so nice, I've decided to go ahead and weave the herringbone on the seat back also. Here's what I've got done on the seat back so far. Let's go on the other side and go through the weave again. Now, unlike the seat bottom, on our seat we just put a basket weave on the bottom, but on the seat back here, or the chair back, we need to put the herringbone on both sides. So here I'm weaving the back side. So there's really a couple of things to remember on this herringbone. All the weaves are different. This herringbone, what you do is here I've gone over 1, and now I just alternate under 3, over 3, under 3, over 3, and so forth. Now at this point, I've got to slide this cane down to where it locks in to the one before it. A little bit of water, not a whole lot of water. Now I'm going to pull it down. Okay, I sort of got it down. Now I'll take one more good tug on it, get it nice and tight. Now my little hook here, I go along and lock it into its correct place. Well, first thing I do, this little hook is equal to these 3 here, so I can go down through there and check and make sure that I've got 3. Let's see if I made any mistakes. Now you can see that last piece of cane we put in there ended. So now we have to splice a new piece in there. Okay, the first thing I do is thread a new piece of cane exactly back through where that last piece came through. So that's usually pretty easy because the last piece has left a home for it. Now that I have that piece of cane threaded through there, I'll put a little water on it. Now this cane's been soaked for about 15 minutes. Okay, I'm going to pull that bitter end. See it right there? That's the end right there. Let's bring it over to about right here. Now what I got to do is I got to overlap it on top of this other piece. See there? So in the end, you can see that piece of cane right there, you can't even tell that it's been spliced. So right here, this is under 1, so the next one is under 2. Well, let's take a look at it. The cane everywhere. Well, there's our restored cane back Kennedy rocking chair. I've still got to put some kind of stain and finish on the cane, but right now it's wet and I need to let it dry for a few days. Okay, I guess that about does it for Memphis Monday 181, restoring a cane back rocking chair. That does it for Memphis Monday 181, restoring a cane back rocking chair. We didn't even realize what we had. Turns out it was one of the famous Kennedy rocking chairs. It belongs to me, so I took the liberty of changing up the weaving on the back. It had a porch weave originally, but I put the herringbone back there now. All right, so like and share and favorite and tweet and Facebook and all that other stuff you do on the internet. But what do you do? Most important, that is, make sure you're back here next week for another exciting Memphis Monday. Thanks for playing along.